I'd like to introduce Moira from England, who takes LDN for rheumatoid arthritis. Welcome, Moira.
Thank you, Linda.
When did you first started to notice your symptoms?
I started noticing a symptom of tenderness under the feet, followed by a vague stiffness in the back of the calves at the very end of 2009. It was after it felt coincidental that I'd broken a wrist in August 2009, and this sort of tenderness in the feet and stiffness was happening after that. But I didn't know what it was, so that was the first sign something wasn't right.
Okay. So when you were diagnosed, what was your condition like by then?
Right, the condition had continued to get worse for the whole year after that. So I'd been to each doctor in my local GP practice trying to see if any of them knew what was happening, because I was becoming more and more stiff. Stiffness was travelling up the calves into the muscles at the back of the legs, and then by October 2009 into the shoulders and down the arms. And I was finding it really quite difficult to get about. And so I asked them to send me to some sort of specialist, and we plumbed for a rheumatologist. So I saw my first rheumatologist in October, and he confirmed it was rheumatoid arthritis. And then I saw another one with the NHS, because I'd gone private. It's the NHS. Getting an NHS appointment was quite slow. And then both of them confirmed the same thing.
Okay, and how old were you then?
I was 54 years old at that time.
Right. And what medications were you offered?
I was offered methotrexate, the chemotherapy drug, and the associated drugs that they give you with methotrexate. And I was not keen to take them because I knew other people who were taking them. And what I gathered from them was, there are an awful lot of side effects with them, very unpleasant side effects, and the drugs are known to be fairly toxic. And it didn't actually stop the disease. It did stop symptoms, but it didn't stop the disease. And my view was that if the disease can come out of nowhere, as it had with me, I hadn't had anybody else in the family with the problem. If it had come out of nowhere, there must be an answer to where it had come from, why I'd got it, and then by definition I could perhaps reverse it. Although, of course, that is not the popular view, so I felt I was fighting against the tide.
So did you actually take the medications in the end?
No, I didn't. I found an alternative route. One of the private rheumatology consultant actually gave me two options. He'd given me the option of taking methotrexate, and the other option was to go to a nutrition and allergy clinic in Surrey called the Burwood Clinic in Banstead, where Dr. Puria there, the doctor in charge, often approached all sorts of autoimmune problems and other problems as well via the route that any immune problem has to have its root in the gut. And so her view was that if she could replace or replenish the correct gut flora in the gut, then a lot of problems would go away. And this is by diet and giving minerals and vitamins and intravenous lipids. So I've gone down that route. So I had that treatment from January when I discovered her until, I'm continuing to have it, but I was having a lot of it until August, which is when she actually introduced me to LDN. Because although my immune system was much improved with all the treatment she was giving me, because I'd looked very ill and felt extremely miserable at the beginning of the year, of 2011, by August I was feeling much stronger, looking much stronger, having more energy, but I still had the stiffness and the pains when I moved.
All right. So when you first started LDN, did you notice any introductory side effects?
No side effects at all. I think at that time I'd been feeling quite sensitive to cold, so the only side effect was I felt a bit warmer, but to me that was a great benefit.
Yeah.
And no, other than that, I really couldn't say I felt any side effects.
And how long did it take before you noticed any improvements?
I'd say I felt improvements in the first few days.
And what were they?
And they were that the miserable pain of moving, every movement of lifting arms or standing up or just going to do anything with any limbs, even eating, had become very painful. And taking the LDN turned that, what was really miserable pain, into mere stiffness, something that I could stand and live with. And indeed, I think it was one of the main contributors to being able to put the rheumatoid arthritis back to second place in my life rather than first place in my life, which it had become.
Yes.
Well, it had become by the end of 2010, actually. So it was great. It was an enormous relief for me.
And did you continue improving on LDN, or did you reach a plateau?
I am continuing to take the LDN. I think I am improving, although I've still got inflammation going on. And the good news is that the C-reactive protein measurements dropped quite significantly by Christmas. So that was after 5 months. So that was very good news. And now we're 5 months further on. I feel there's still inflammation there, but I feel it's getting less very slowly. It is very slowly, but I do believe it's keeping me moving and, as I say, carrying on my life despite it. I am doing other things as well, but I firmly believe that the LDN is really helping the immune system with all the other things I'm doing to help the immune system.
And what are your pain levels like now?
Generally, I would say pain levels are right down. Currently, I've got one flare-up going on in one leg, so that's pretty uncomfortable. But I regard that as a temporary thing. I hope that will be gone in a couple of weeks. But generally, I would say pain levels are enormously reduced. I'd say sort of at least 60% reduction on what they were a year ago.
What would you say to other people with rheumatoid arthritis who are contemplating LDN?
I would encourage them very much to take LDN. I would say no question of it. Not only that, but given what I've seen of other, or heard of other people taking it, really from your publicity, I suppose, I would encourage anybody to take LDN.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Moira, and let's hope you enjoy the summer.
Thank you very much, Linda, and thank you for all the good work you're doing. And we just hope that we can really get more doctors prescribing LDN, because I think that would be tremendously helpful. And I'm not quite sure why we can't. I've tried to persuade my GP to take it on, but I'm still working out the route whereby it gets to GPs.
Well, more and more GPs are prescribing LDN, so little by little, baby steps, we are getting there.
And is that just from patients demanding it or telling them about it, or what?
Yes, and I think being more comfortable once, for example, neurologists, if they see several of their patients doing really well on LDN, and then the next patient comes in and says, can I have LDN, they're happier to write